Hello, friends. I'm Robert, and this is my beloved wife, Evelyn. We've been married for 62 years, since that sunny afternoon in June 1963 when we said, "I do," in a small chapel overlooking the rolling hills of our hometown in Pennsylvania. The ceremony was simple, only family, a few close friends, wildflowers from the meadow, and a borrowed car for our honeymoon drive to the Poconos. Looking at us now, you might see two silver-haired folks sitting side by side on our front porch swing, holding hands the way we still do every evening as the sun dips below the trees. You might think our life together has always been peaceful, predictable, and easy. It hasn't. Not by a long shot. We've weathered storms that nearly swept us away. Brutal financial hardships in the 70s, when the steel mills slashed shifts, and we sometimes wondered how we'd pay the mortgage. Health battles that tested every ounce of our strength and faith. Raising 4 children through the turbulent cultural shifts of the late 60s and 70s. Losing both sets of parents within a few years of each other. Celebrating the births of 9 grandchildren, and even enduring a few dark, quiet years in the late 80s, where we seriously wondered if the love we once felt so fiercely could survive the slow, grinding weight of time, routine, and unspoken disappointment. But here we are, still choosing each other every single morning, still laughing at the same silly jokes we've told for decades, still finding comfort in the familiar shape of each other's hand. What we're about to share isn't polished advice from a book or a therapist's couch. These are the hard-earned, sometimes painful truths we wish someone had sat us down and whispered to us on our wedding night, or maybe even a few months into that first hard year. These 5 quiet, insidious mistakes almost cost us everything. Years of closeness, deep trust, simple daily joy. But slowly, painfully learning from them brought us back, again and again, to the real heart of what a long marriage actually is. The glimpses into our real life that capture the warmth we've fought so hard to protect and rebuild. And this one always takes us right back to our early days, young, hopeful, a little scared, and completely in love. Mistake number 1, turning everyday life into a silent competition of who carries more. For the first 20 years or so, we kept invisible tallies in our heads. I, Robert, worked punishing long shifts at the steel mill. Sometimes double shifts, sometimes 7 days straight. Then came home to fix the roof in the rain, shovel the long driveway after blizzards, or repair whatever appliance had broken that week, and felt quietly entitled to collapse into silence in the evenings. Evelyn managed an entire universe inside our modest house. 4 children's endless needs, school projects, doctor appointments, the large vegetable garden that literally helped us eat through several lean winters, the grocery budget stretched to its breaking point, and the emotional glue that somehow kept everyone feeling safe and loved. When I'd sigh heavily about being bone-tired, she'd swallow her own exhaustion and keep going. Resentment grew like weeds in an untended yard, slow, stubborn, and choking. One particularly brutal winter in 1978, during the nationwide energy crisis, our ancient furnace died for 3 full days. I spent hours in the freezing basement wrapping pipes with insulation, my fingers numb, while Evelyn kept the children warm with every blanket we owned, told endless made-up stories by flashlight, and heated soup on the wood stove. We barely spoke beyond necessities, each privately convinced the other didn't truly see or appreciate the sacrifice. That cold silence lingered for weeks. It wasn't until our oldest son, then in his late 20s, and already a father himself, quietly asked during a rare family dinner in the late 90s, "Do you two still enjoy being together?" that we finally saw how much damage the invisible scoreboard had done. That single, gentle question broke something open inside both of us. From that moment we began, imperfectly, gradually, to stop counting. When Evelyn was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in the early 2000s, I learned to cook simple meals, burnt edges and all, drove her to every grueling treatment, held her hand through sleepless nights of pain and fear. No ledger, no mental note of, "I did this, now you owe me." When I had my heart procedure and stent placement in 2015, she was my rock, quietly, steadily, without a single "I told you so." Today, at 84 and 82, we just look at each other and ask, "What can I do for you right now?" And then we do it, with gratitude instead of tallies. Mistake number 2. Believing love means fixing each other's flaws. I'm steady, deliberate, and like things in their place. Evelyn is a beautiful whirlwind of creativity, emotion, and intuition. For years I tried, sometimes gently, sometimes with growing frustration, to make her more organized, reminding her of appointments, sighing over forgotten bills, rearranging the kitchen drawers for efficiency. She, in turn, tried to loosen me up, dragging me into spontaneous living room dances to old records, insisting on last-minute weekend drives to the lake just to watch the sunset, laughing when I worried about schedules. We'd end up frustrated, each feeling like we weren't enough as we were, each believing if only the other would change a little, everything would be perfect. A painful low point came during our 22nd anniversary trip in 1985. I had planned every detail, reservations, route, even the picnic stops, while she longed for complete freedom to wander. We argued the entire drive home, both feeling deeply unseen. But over the next decade, slowly and with many stumbles, we learned acceptance. My structure provided the financial security that carried us through 2 major recessions, 4 college tuitions, and unexpected medical bills. Her spontaneity brought magic back into our lives, like the time in 2008 when she surprised me with tickets to see our favorite old band in concert, long after we'd supposedly settled down into quiet routines. Now we complement each other so naturally. She plans our big family reunions with all 9 grandchildren running everywhere. I add the little surprises, a picnic under the stars on our anniversary, fresh flowers on the kitchen table just because, or a handwritten note tucked into her book. We no longer try to rewrite each other. We celebrate the ways we fit. Here we are still dancing, slowly and sweetly, just like we did back then. Mistake number 3. Letting small hurts pile up until they erupt. I was the undisputed king of letting it go. A forgotten anniversary card, a sharp word during a stressful week, a thoughtless comment. I'd bury it deep, convinced that bringing it up would only start a fight and make things worse. But nothing ever really disappears. It festers quietly until the pressure becomes unbearable. In the spring of 1994, Evelyn finally erupted over something seemingly trivial, a misplaced set of car keys, only to reveal years of accumulated feelings of being unheard and undervalued during my most intense workaholic phase when the mill demanded everything. The fight lasted days, voices raised, tears shed, but it forced us to change. We began setting aside time every week for heart talks. No yelling, no defensiveness, just honest, gentle sharing. "This hurt me," or "I need to feel seen and valued." Those quiet, sometimes awkward conversations became our lifeline. They carried us through our daughter's painful divorce in 2007, our son's long career struggles and eventual restart, and the quiet, cumulative grief of losing so many dear friends over the passing decades. Mistake number 4. Allowing comfort to replace courtship. After about 30 years, routine settled over us like a heavy blanket. We knew each other's habits, preferences, and stories so well that we gradually stopped learning new things about one another. Date nights became rare. Meaningful touch and intimacy sometimes felt like an afterthought amid demanding jobs, growing children, aging parents, and sheer exhaustion. Our wake-up call came when very close friends, people we'd double-dated with in our 20s, divorced after more than 40 years together. From the outside, they had looked fine, comfortable, settled. Inside, they had drifted into profound loneliness. That reality terrified us. We made a conscious decision to recommit ourselves. We started Saturday morning coffees where we ask real, curious questions. What made you smile this week? What are you dreaming about these days? We resumed evening walks hand in hand, even if only around the block. I leave surprise notes on her pillow. She tucks little love messages into my coat pocket. Even now, in our mid-80s, we still court each other intentionally, because love, like any living thing, needs regular tending, sunlight, water, and care, or it quietly withers. Moments like this still happen in our living room every single week. Mistake number 5. Forgetting we're on the same side of every battle. During the hardest seasons, plant layoffs, serious illnesses, family crises, financial scares, we sometimes slipped into treating each other like opponents. Who was right about how to handle money? About discipline with the children? About big future decisions? Winning an argument felt good in the moment, but it always left bruises on the relationship. The decisive shift happened during our youngest grandson's frightening illness in 2012. He was only 6, hospitalized for weeks, and the uncertainty was crushing. We couldn't afford to be divided. We sat together on the hospital waiting room chairs, listened deeply to each other's fears, compromised on decisions, cried in each other's arms, and fought the fear as a united team. That experience rewired something fundamental in us. Now, every challenge, large or small, is framed as us against the problem. Disagreements end with, "Help me understand where you're coming from," instead of, "You're wrong." The peace that comes from that shift is one of the sweetest gifts of these later years. Our family gatherings still remind us, again and again, why we've kept choosing this path. 62 years is a long, rich, sometimes bruising road. We've changed. Bodies slower, steps more careful, hair completely silver, wisdom deeper and more forgiving. But we've changed together. If we could travel back and speak to our younger selves on that hopeful wedding day in 1963, we'd say 5 simple, urgent things. Speak your heart early and often, before silence turns into stone. Accept the person you married as they truly are. Don't spend decades trying to rewrite their nature. Keep choosing each other with intention through small, daily acts of love and attention. Fight every battle as partners, never as enemies. And never, ever stop holding hands, no matter how old or tired your hands become. Love isn't a destination you arrive at and then coast through for the rest of your days. It's a daily walk, sometimes through fierce storms, often under warm sunshine, but always, always side by side. Thank you for listening so patiently to our story. If any part of it stirred something in your own heart, whether hope, recognition, or a gentle reminder, please drop a comment and tell us which piece spoke to you most. We're deeply grateful to still be here, still in love, still sharing the lessons we've carried all these years.